You want to know something that's interesting? Maybe you've never thought about this before, but every person that we meet, no matter how different they are from us, has at least one thing in common. They, like you, have at least some amount of useless junk in their house that they once bought, but perhaps forgot about. Actually, I'd like to tell you a funny story about that. When I was 5, I had this brilliant idea. You see, I went around the house, I took all of that random stuff, brought it up to my room, and I opened up my little shop. And whenever my parents would have company over, I would bring them up to my room and sell them those things. Eventually, my parents found out, and I had to file bankruptcy because they took away my inventory. It's funny though, because even though we may not have realized it at the time, it's small stories like this that seem to tell us something about who we would become as we got older. For me, I've always had a passion for two things: business and creativity. And looking back, it's obvious to me now that music and photography, video production, and starting my own company were all parts of who I was supposed to become. But getting there wasn't as clear. I remember fantasizing about DJing and at these EDM festivals where there were like thousands of people as like far as the eye can see, like all the way up to the horizon. I'd be in my room like doing this. And I'd watch my favorite artists release music and perform and do interviews and go on to win Grammys and live out this crazy life. But it was only crazy to me because they were able to have that off of something that they created. Something as simple as a song or a video or an idea. And the concept of that was something that I fell in love with. But many times when I tried to share that same excitement with people, even those that were closest to me, I was met with all the reasons why I shouldn't. Why going after a life like that would be this terrible, dangerous mistake. Because for the longest time, starting a company, making music, and using creativity as a means of living just seemed like this impossible dream that surely someone like me could never have. And so when it came time to move forward and decide what it was that I was going to do in my life, I kept getting the question: what college are you going to? What career are you going to pursue? What are you going to do in your life, and who are you going to be? And I always struggled with that answer. See, most of the time, I gave the answer that everyone else wanted because I was too afraid to stand up for what it was that I actually wanted to do and who it was I actually wanted to be. I was feeling all this pressure around me to get established in a career that I just knew I wasn't going to be happy in. That wasn't going to fulfill this vision that I had for myself ever since I was a little kid. I didn't know what to do. So I gave in. I took the path that everyone else wanted for me. I went to college for 2 years and I struggled. I wasn't doing well, constantly felt overwhelmed. And I remember laying in my bed every night, awake, absolutely dreading waking up the next day. And in the back of my mind, I kept thinking, Nithin, where do you want to be in 5 years, in 10 years? What are you going to do to get there? And how are you going to do this thing called life? Because this couldn't be it. And just as the world was going through some of its darkest times, I saw my opportunity. I saw my chance to go after that dream. So I took a leap of faith, convinced my parents to let me take a break from college, and I put everything that I had into building the future that I wanted, not for somebody else, but for me. And for the past 2 years, I've been putting in the work, I've been making the sacrifices, and I've been more patient than I've ever been before. And it's been really hard at times. But if it's one thing that I've learned, it's that maybe moving straight forward doesn't always look like you're moving straight forward. Because then this vision came to me, this tremendous opportunity that I had right in front of me to then help the 12-year-old kid that wants to live out his dream of being a drummer, or a DJ, or a producer, or an artist, or a photographer, a videographer, a business owner, a creative. This dream of one day being a husband and a father. To help him and so many others by giving them the courage to say yes to their dreams when every day it just seems like the world tells them no. At the center of everything that I create, I focus on the one thing that makes each and every one of us stand out. The one thing that's 100% unique to us. The one thing that nobody, not even the world, can ever take away from you, regardless of what you look like, where you are, or what your situation is, or anything else that's measured by worldly means. The one thing that makes you uniquely you. And that's your story. What's yours?